The Jupiter Research Station's sensors picked up the anomaly on a routine sweep of the outer system. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the readouts, double-checking the numbers. The object's composition didn't match any known asteroid or debris signatures. After 3 years of monitoring space junk and cataloging asteroids, she knew this was different. "Director Walsh, you need to see this," she called over the comm system, her eyes never leaving the screen. The orbital path was too perfect, too controlled. This wasn't natural. James Walsh arrived minutes later, his weathered face showing both exhaustion and curiosity. The station had been understaffed since the budget cuts, but this discovery might change everything. "What have you got, Sarah?" "Look at these readings," she pointed to the holographic display. "It's maintaining a stable orbit around Jupiter's L4 point. The mass is consistent with a vessel roughly 2 kilometers in length, but the energy signature is nearly zero." Walsh leaned closer, his eyes narrowing. "A derelict ship. Out here. That's my guess. And sir, it's not one of ours. The design doesn't match anything in the database." The news spread quickly. Within 24 hours, the United Earth Space Command dispatched 3 research vessels to investigate. The international scientific community buzzed with speculation. First contact had finally happened, even if it was with an abandoned ship. But humanity wasn't alone in its discovery. The Galactic Council, a loose federation of spacefaring species, also detected the vessel. Their response, however, was markedly different. High Commander Zextal of the Arcanian Science Division dismissed the find with a wave of his tentacled appendage. Another primitive vessel, no doubt from one of the countless failed civilizations. Let the humans waste their resources studying it. They'll learn what we already know, that such discoveries are worthless. The Council's database contained records of dozens of similar finds. Ancient ships, abandoned stations, and derelict technology. Most were technological dead ends, their secrets lost to time or their systems too alien to comprehend. But humans had never been good at accepting limitations. The UEA's Hawking was the first research vessel to reach the derelict. Captain Maya Rodriguez watched through the observation deck as her ship approached the ancient vessel. Its hull was dark, covered in what appeared to be some kind of crystalline growth. The design was unlike anything she'd ever seen. Smooth, almost organic in its curves, yet clearly artificial. "All readings confirm it's safe to approach," her science officer reported. "No radiation, no active power signatures. It's just sitting there." Rodriguez nodded, but something about the ship made her skin tingle. 20 years in space had taught her to trust her instincts. "Let's take it slow. Launch the survey drones first." The drone's scans revealed something extraordinary. The ship's hull wasn't damaged or decayed. It was dormant, like a computer in sleep mode, waiting for the right input to wake up. Dr. Chen, who had been transferred to the Hawking for the investigation, couldn't contain her excitement. "Captain, look at these material readings. The hull is composed of some kind of programmable matter. It's not just a shell. It's a massive computer. The entire ship is one integrated system." As the team worked to understand the vessel, they received an unexpected transmission. The Arcanian Science Division had sent an observer, claiming rights under Galactic Council protocols. Their representative, senior researcher Kelvor, arrived with an air of condescension. "We've documented hundreds of such vessels," Kelvor announced during the first briefing. "They're remnants of the Great Expansion, when countless species tried and failed to achieve true interstellar civilization. The technology is always too degraded to be of use. You're wasting your time." But Dr. Chen had already discovered something the Arcanians had missed. In the ship's outer hull, barely visible under the crystalline growth, was a pattern. Not random damage, but a deliberate message. And it was written in mathematics. Perfect, universal mathematics. "It's not just a ship," she explained to Captain Rodriguez late that night, her hands shaking with excitement. "It's a key, and whatever it unlocks, the builders wanted it found. They left instructions." As the human team worked to decipher the message, they began to understand why the Arcanians had missed it. The pattern wasn't meant to be scanned or analyzed. It had to be touched, felt, experienced. It required human intuition combined with machine precision, a fusion of organic and artificial intelligence that humanity had been inadvertently preparing for since the dawn of the computer age. The Arcanian observer watched with growing unease as the humans made progress where countless other species had failed. They weren't just studying the ship, they were beginning to understand it. And in doing so, they were about to unlock something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Unknown to everyone, deep within the vessel, systems that had laid dormant for millennia began to stir. The ship had found what it had been waiting for all along, not the most advanced civilization, but the right one. The one that could bridge the gap between organic and artificial, between intuition and logic. Humanity's journey to the stars was about to take an unexpected turn, and the galaxy would never be the same. The first breakthrough came 3 weeks after the discovery. Dr. Chen had been working with the ship's crystalline surface, studying how it responded to different types of touch and electrical impulses. The Arcanian observer, Kelivor, watched with poorly concealed disdain as she pressed her palm against the hull for the 100th time that day. The Centaurian Empire spent decades studying similar vessels, he remarked. They concluded that the crystalline growth was simple space debris, nothing more than cosmic rust. But Chen wasn't listening. Under her palm, the crystal had begun to warm. Not just warm, it was pulsing, like a heartbeat. She'd felt something similar days ago, but this time was different. This time, the ship was responding. "Captain Rodriguez," she called over the comm, trying to keep her voice steady. "I need you on the outer hull. Now." The crystal's glow spread outward from where Chen's hand touched it, forming intricate patterns that danced across the ship's surface. By the time Rodriguez arrived, suited up and tethered to the ship, the patterns had begun to shift and change, forming complex geometric shapes. "It's not just responding to touch," Chen explained, her voice filled with wonder. "It's responding to our bioelectrical field, the human nervous system. It's exactly what it was waiting for." The Arcanian observer moved closer, his environmental suit awkward and bulky compared to the sleek human designs. "Impossible. We tested every known species' biological signatures. Nothing ever." He fell silent as the crystal beneath Chen's hand suddenly flared with brilliant light. A section of the hull, nearly 10 meters in diameter, began to ripple and flow like liquid metal. It parted, revealing an entrance that hadn't existed moments before. "That's why you never found anything," Rodriguez said, unable to hide her smile. "You were looking for answers in computer banks and data storage. But this ship, it's meant to interface directly with organic life, specifically with human-like neural patterns." Inside the newly revealed chamber, the team found something extraordinary. The walls were lined with what appeared to be neural interfaces, organic-looking tendrils that reached out toward them invitingly. The chamber itself seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting with a gentle rhythm. "This is incredible," Chen whispered, running her scanner over the nearest interface. "The technology, it's not just advanced, it's alive. Or at least, it exists in a state between organic and mechanical." The discovery sent shockwaves through both human and alien communities. The United Earth Space Command immediately classified the mission as top priority, sending their best researchers and engineers. The Galactic Council, previously dismissive, suddenly showed renewed interest. But it was Dr. Chen who made the most startling discovery. While examining the neural interfaces, she found they contained coded information, vast amounts of it. Not just technical data, but star maps, coordinates, and what appeared to be activation sequences. "This ship," she explained during an emergency briefing, "it's not just a vessel. It's a key to something much bigger. These coordinates, they point to locations all across the galaxy, hundreds of them, and each one contains something massive." Captain Rodriguez studied the holographic display of the galaxy, now dotted with glowing points of light. A network, some kind of ancient defense system. More than that, Chen replied. Look at the pattern. These points, they're not random. They form a grid, a perfect geometric pattern across the galaxy. Whatever this is, it was built by beings who could engineer on a galactic scale. The Arcanian observer had grown increasingly agitated as the humans made progress. His reports to the council became more frequent, more urgent. The humans weren't just studying the ship. They were beginning to understand it in ways that no other species had. But understanding came with a price. As the research team delved deeper into the ship's secrets, they began to realize they weren't just uncovering ancient technology. They were awakening it. And somewhere, in the vast darkness of space, something was awakening in response. The ship's systems, dormant for millennia, were coming online one by one. Each activation sent pulses of energy through the galaxy, like ripples in a cosmic pond. And those ripples were drawing attention. We need to move faster, Rodriguez announced during a staff meeting. Whatever this ship is part of, we're not the only ones who know about it now. And I have a feeling we're running out of time. She was right. In the depths of space, other forces were stirring. The human discovery had upset a delicate balance, and the consequences were about to become clear. The ship wasn't just a repository of ancient technology, it was a test, and humanity's response to it would determine not just their fate, but the fate of the galaxy itself. As the team worked to unlock more of the ship's secrets, they remained unaware that they were being watched, not just by the Galactic Council, but by older, more powerful entities, beings who had waited eons for a species worthy of the legacy they had left behind. And now, finally, they had found one. The Galactic Council chambers erupted in chaos as High Commander Zextol delivered his report. The massive holographic display showed the human research vessel interfacing with the ancient ship, its crew making progress that should have been impossible. They're activating systems we never knew existed, Zextol announced, his tentacles writhing with agitation. The humans aren't just studying the vessel, they're bonding with it. And every day they grow stronger. The council members, representing dozens of advanced civilizations, watched with growing alarm as data streamed across their screens. Energy signatures from the ancient ship had increased 1,000-fold. Strange signals were emanating from its core, reaching out across the galaxy to unknown destinations. Meanwhile, aboard the UES Hawking, Dr. Chen and her team had made another breakthrough. The neural interfaces weren't just for communication. They were control systems for something far more vast and powerful than anyone had imagined. Look at this, Chen said, projecting a complex three-dimensional map into the air. These aren't just random coordinates. They're nodes in a network. And this ship, it's like a master key. Each activation sequence we unlock reveals more of the pattern. Captain Rodriguez studied the map intently. And you think these nodes are all ships like this one? No, Chen replied, her voice trembling with excitement. There's something else. Something bigger. This ship is just the control center. The real system. It spans the entire galaxy. The discovery had profound implications. Whatever this ancient network was, it had been built by beings with technology far beyond anything currently known. And somehow, human neural patterns were perfectly suited to interface with it. But they weren't the only ones who understood the significance of this discovery. The Arcanian observer, Kelivor, had disappeared the previous day, taking with him detailed scans of the human research. Hours later, a massive fleet of Galactic Council ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. This is High Commander Zextol of the Galactic Council Defense Force. The transmission boomed across all frequencies. The ancient vessel has been deemed a Class 1 security risk. You will cease all research immediately and surrender the ship to Council custody. Rodriguez stood on the Hawking's bridge, her jaw set firmly as she read the message. The Council fleet was impressive. Over 50 ships, each one far more advanced than anything humanity possessed. or at least anything they had possessed before finding the ancient vessel. "They're afraid," Dr. Chen said quietly, standing beside her captain. "They're afraid because we can do something they can't. We can wake this ship up, and that terrifies them." Rodriguez nodded slowly. "How much more time do you need to fully understand what we're dealing with?" "Weeks, maybe months, but to activate the primary systems, that I can do in hours." The captain turned to her crew, seeing determination in every face. They had come too far to give up now. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them what's happening. And then," she took a deep breath, "then we show the Council exactly what humanity is capable of." The next few hours were a blur of activity. While Rodriguez kept the Council fleet engaged in diplomatic discussions, Chen and her team worked frantically to unlock more of the ship's systems. With each passing minute, more of the ancient vessel came alive. The crystalline growth on the hull, once thought to be simple space debris, began to pulse with energy. Patterns of light danced across its surface, forming complex geometric shapes that shifted and changed like living things. The ship was awakening, and with it, something else, something that had laid dormant for millions of years. Deep within the vessel's core, Dr. Chen made a final connection. The neural interface wrapped around her like a second skin, merging human consciousness with ancient technology. Through this connection, she could feel the true scope of what they had discovered. "It's not just a defense network," she gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's a test. The beings who built this, they weren't looking for the most advanced civilization. They were looking for the right one. A species that could bridge the gap between organic and artificial intelligence." As if in response to her words, the ship's systems suddenly surged with power. Energy readings went off the scale as dormant technology sprang to life. The crystalline hull began to transform, flowing like liquid metal as it reconfigured itself into its true form. In the space around them, the Council fleet moved closer, weapons charged. They had come expecting to find humans playing with technology they couldn't understand. Instead, they were about to witness something unprecedented. Humanity taking its first steps into a level of technological advancement that would reshape the galaxy. The ancient ship's transformation continued, its hull now glowing with an inner light that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around it. Through her neural connection, Chen could feel the vessel's true purpose awakening. This wasn't just about discovering new technology. It was about proving humanity's worth to inherit something far greater. As the Council fleet prepared to fire, Rodriguez sent one final message. "You might want to reconsider your next move, because what you're about to witness isn't just a demonstration of power, it's the beginning of a new era in galactic history." The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of the entire galaxy. And deep within the ancient vessel, systems that had waited millions of years for this moment were finally ready to reveal their true purpose. Time seemed to slow as the Council fleet's weapons charged, their energy signatures blazing against the darkness of space. But within the ancient vessel, Dr. Chen had never felt more alive. The neural interface had become an extension of her consciousness, allowing her to perceive the ship's systems in ways that transcended normal human understanding. "The transformation is complete," she announced, her voice resonating with newfound confidence. "Captain, you need to see this." Through the Hawking's observation windows, the crew watched in awe as the ancient ship completed its metamorphosis. The crystalline surface had become a seamless, flowing matrix of energy and matter. What had appeared to be simple geometric patterns were now revealed as incredibly complex control systems, each one connected to a vast network that stretched across the galaxy. Multiple energy signatures detected. The sensor officer reported, his voice tight with tension. "The Council fleet is preparing to fire." Captain Rodriguez stood calmly on her bridge, watching the hostile ships with an almost serene expression. "Dr. Chen, are we ready?" "More than ready," Chen replied through the neural link. "The ship, it's not just responding to us anymore. It's accepting us. We're the first species to ever fully activate its systems. The first salvos from the Council fleet lit up space like artificial stars, but they never reached their target. The ancient vessel's defensive systems activated automatically, creating a barrier of pure energy that absorbed the attacks as if they were nothing more than light shows. High Commander Zextel's voice crackled over the comm, now tinged with uncertainty. This is your final warning. Surrender the vessel or face the consequences. Through her neural connection, Chen could feel the ship's vast knowledge flowing into her mind, millennia of technological advancement, carefully preserved and waiting for the right species to claim it. The beings who had built this vessel hadn't just been looking for worthy inheritors. They had been preparing for something. Captain, Chen called out, her voice urgent. I know what this ship is, what it's really for. It's not just a key to a defense network. It's a gateway to something far more important. As she spoke, new systems were coming online throughout the vessel. What had appeared to be dormant sections of the ship were revealing themselves as incredibly advanced technological centers. Each one contained knowledge and capabilities that went far beyond anything currently known to any species in the galaxy. The builders of this ship, Chen continued, they weren't just another ancient civilization. They were the guardians of the galaxy. And they left all of this behind because they knew that someday someone would need it. Rodriguez nodded slowly, understanding dawning in her eyes. Need it for what? For what's coming, Chen replied, her voice grave. The ship's databases are full of warnings. Something is approaching. Something that threatens the entire galaxy. The builders left this ship and its network as a defense system, but it needed the right species to activate it, a species that could truly understand and control it. Through the neural interface, Chen began to access more of the ship's capabilities. The crystalline hull pulsed with energy as hidden systems activated one by one. In space around them, points of light began to appear, quantum entanglement nodes connecting their ship to others like it throughout the galaxy. The Council fleet, Chen reported, their weapons, they're nothing compared to what this ship can do. But that's not the point. We're not supposed to use this power to fight them. We're supposed to protect them. The ancient vessel's core began to pulse with a deep, resonant energy. Each beat sent waves of quantum information across space, activating more nodes in the vast network. The ship wasn't just defending itself, it was waking up the entire system. In the Council fleet, sensors were going crazy as similar energy signatures began appearing throughout known space. Ancient installations, hidden beneath the surfaces of countless worlds, were coming to life. A network that had laid dormant for millions of years was finally awakening. All those coordinates, Rodriguez breathed, watching as new points of light appeared on their strategic display. They're all part of it, a galaxy-wide defense system. Chen nodded, still connected to the ship's consciousness, and humanity is meant to control it. Not because we're the most advanced, but because we understand something the other species don't. We understand balance. The balance between organic and artificial, between power and responsibility. The Council fleet held their position, weapons still charged but no longer firing. They could only watch as the ancient network continued to activate, each new node adding to its power. What had started as a simple investigation of a derelict ship had become something far more significant. The moment humanity proved itself worthy of an ancient legacy. Through the neural interface, Chen could feel the ship's approval. Humanity had passed the test. They had shown not just the ability to activate the technology, but the wisdom to understand its true purpose. They weren't meant to dominate the galaxy. They were meant to protect it. As the last of the defense network came online, a message began to transmit across all frequencies, in every known language. It was the voice of the ancient builders, preserved for millions of years, finally delivered to its intended recipients. To those who have proven worthy, the galaxy is now in your care. Use this power wisely, for the greatest challenge still lies ahead.